It's Wednesday, April 29th. In the headlines, chaos in Parliament as opposition member of Parliament is suspended over May's protest. Parliament passes National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill after marathon debate. In business news, we have your usual market updates. Regionally, regional leaders pushing against gun trafficking with workshop. And in sports, FIFA boosts World Cup payouts to $871 million amid rising costs concerns. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Chaos briefly halted proceedings in Jamaica's Parliament Tuesday night after Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Southwestern Angela Brown Burke was suspended following an incident involving the ceremonial mace during a debate on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill, the NARA Bill. The confrontation unfolded during a sitting of the Committee of the Whole House, forcing a temporary suspension.
Members, I name Angela Brown Burke and ask that she be removed from the chamber. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Member outside.
House Speaker Juliet Holness ruled that the MP's actions breached parliamentary rules, warning that the mace, Parliament's symbol of authority, must never be handled in protest.
Member, at no time can you grab the mace in Parliament, not even in jest, member, and not in protest either, Member Burchell.
Despite repeated instructions, the opposition MP resisted removal and attempted to address the House before being escorted out.
Those in favor?
Madam Speaker.
Those against? Those against? No, that's not allowed.
The incident overshadowed debate on the NARA bill, which aims to establish a national body to coordinate disaster recovery and resilience efforts. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness later called for calm, urging members to preserve the dignity of the House. The sitting was suspended for 5 minutes before lawmakers resumed deliberations. The National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Act was passed in the House of Representatives on Wednesday morning, clearing the way for the government to accelerate rebuilding efforts following Hurricane Melissa. Following a marathon debate which ended minutes before 2 a.m., the bill was approved with 20 amendments after more than 8 hours of often heated debate which began Tuesday afternoon and spilled into the night. Opposition leader Mark Golding and his members called multiple division votes, all defeated by the government majority, but secured several amendments, arguing the bill needed stronger transparency and accountability provisions.
I'm suggesting that the words in the new provision, which is persons affected or likely to be affected by the implementation of a project, could be added as a catch-all to the new provision. So it could say, discuss projects, programs and plans with representatives of non-governmental organizations and vulnerable groups, including women, persons, the elderly, and children, youth, and any other persons affected or likely to be affected.
Including but not limited to. That's what I was suggesting.
But you're right.
But the opposition leader's point carries.
Government MP Marlene Malahoo Fort also raised concerns during the clause-by-clause review.
Clause is now being amended to include the private sector projects. And the register speaks to the name and description of the project. With the inclusion of the private sector side, should it include the developer or those who are behind the private sector project in that register?
The clause indicates that
other particulars can be prescribed. All right, I think that is clear. So these are in relation to national strategic projects. I wouldn't specifically put in the legislation that the developer must be included, but the name, the description, and clearly other particulars can be prescribed. That's my view on it.
The government insists that the law is necessary for a swift and coordinated response to the estimated $12.2 billion in damage caused by the hurricane, maintaining that sufficient safeguards are in place. Closing the debate, the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, sought to ease concerns over oversight while urging cooperation in the national interest. The NARA will be tasked with leading major reconstruction and developing projects, including infrastructure expansion and fast-tracking key investments under the government's Fast Jamaica initiative. Jamaican students could soon be earning and gaining real work experience before they even graduate. The Heart NSTA Trust has launched its new tertiary Learn, Earn and Prosper program, aimed at helping students move seamlessly from the classroom into the workforce through part-time employment while studying.
What if you could start earning and building your career before you even graduate? That future is closer than you think. The Heart NSTA Trust is changing how young people move from school to work with its new initiative, the Tertiary Learn, Earn and Prosper LEAP program, and it could be a game changer. For years, students have faced the same issue. Graduate, then hope to find a job. LEAP is here to disrupt that cycle. Through this pilot initiative, students enrolled in accredited tertiary institutions will get the chance to work part-time in real jobs while still studying. LEAP aims to connect you with opportunities that align with your career goals, helping you transition seamlessly from lecture hall to professional life. But the opportunities don't stop there. As Jamaica ramps up major infrastructure and development projects, the government is also investing in young people who want to build businesses, not just careers. Enter the Contractor Incubator Program. This initiative will support graduates of the Heart NSTA Trust and the University of Technology, equipping them with advanced technical training, business development support, and access to concessional financing through the Development Bank of Jamaica.
The National Reconstruction Program under NARA will require thousands of skilled tradespeople, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, masons, roofers, and the capacity to train them at scale and at speed. The Heart Trust NSTA will train construction-related tradespersons who can assist in the Building and Resilience Initiative, as well as propelling the expansion of various sectors.
Even better, participants won't just train.
The intent is to have Jamaicans gain experience on high-value public infrastructure projects and transition faster into sustainable employment and enterprise.
In a major move to expand access, the government is also removing one of the biggest obstacles to skills training: cost.
Our mission to expand access to opportunity through skills training is not yet complete. I shall now complete that mission. In the coming financial year, tuitions for all Heart NSTA Trust programs up to level 5, note that this is a bachelor's degree, will be abolished for Jamaicans in the most challenging circumstances.
The message is clear. Jamaica is investing in its youth, not just to find jobs, but to create opportunities, build industries, and shape the future. So the question is, are you ready to learn, earn, and prosper?
In the business report, revenues at Jamaica's two main international airports declined during the first quarter of the year, largely due to the impact of Hurricane Melissa. The airports Sangster International and Norman Manley International recorded a combined drop of just over $8 million. Earnings from flight operations fell by more than $6 million, while revenue from food concessions also declined. The downturn has been linked to reduced passenger traffic, with Sangster International Airport recording a sharp fall in arrivals, while Norman Manley International Airport also saw a slight decline. Officials note to RGR News that these figures do not yet reflect the potential impact of current tensions in the Middle East, which began late February. The drop in passenger numbers highlights continued challenges facing the tourism and aviation sectors in the wake of recent disruptions. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica says it's currently conducting an island-wide counting and recording of basic information on all residential dwellings. Statin added that the current exercise is important because after the completion of a population census, new houses are built, people relocate, and the structure of communities change. The agency also says the capturing of these changes is important to the updating of its database, while adding that it helps to build a strong, accurate foundation for planning and delivering the public goods and services that the population will need in the future. Let's hear what's happening in the stock exchange and forex market from Denise Williams.
For the trading period of April 28, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 4,308,516 units, representing 26.51% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 2,873,737 units, representing 17.68% of market sales activities. Woodcats International Limited with 891,932 units, representing 5.49% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for April 28, 2026, forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. The US dollar had trading margins reflecting steady liquidity, with the US selling at $155.79 and buying at $157.97. The Canadian dollar had moderate gains supported by $1.24 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $115.37 and was bought for $114.13. For the British pound, continued volatility offers short-term trading opportunities of $5.46 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $212.99 and was bought for $207.53. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, retirement doesn't mean disengaging from your finances. If you're 70 or older, your credit report is no longer about building. It's about protecting, preserving, and staying flexible. So here's how to actively manage it. Well, first of all, you can keep access to cash when you need it. Don't assume you'll never need credit again just because you're in your 70s. Emergencies happen, medical costs, home repairs, and maybe even supporting family. So here's an action tip for you. Keep at least one active credit card or line of credit open. Use it lightly and pay it off consistently. This keeps your options alive without creating risk. And I also want you to actively guard against fraud. This is where the credit report matters the most at this stage of life. In your 70s, you're a prime target for identity theft. The action would be set up credit monitoring or alerts, check for unfamiliar accounts or activity, and freeze your credit if you're not applying for anything. So we want you to simplify, not abandon, because complex financial structure create risk. So we want you to reduce the number of accounts you manage, avoid co-signing loans, and keep balances low and predictable. The bottom line is at 70, your credit report is no longer a growth tool, it's a defensive asset. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, regional and international partners are stepping up efforts to tackle the growing threat of illegal firearms across the Caribbean. Law enforcement officials are meeting this week in Trinidad and Tobago to strengthen cooperation, share intelligence, and examine new strategies to counter gun trafficking in the region.
The two-day workshop in Port of Spain brings together representatives from 11 countries and U.S. agencies to boost intelligence sharing and counter regional trafficking networks. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara said the scale of the problem remains a major concern for Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean.
Gun violence, not only in Trinidad but in the Caribbean, is a serious problem. We have actually statistical data for the past 10 years shows about 8,500 firearms being recovered from the streets of Trinidad and Tobago, and you could actually tell that every single year we recover over 600 firearms. Last year it was 676.
Commissioner Guevara said the scale of the problem highlights the need for coordinated action as criminal networks continue to evolve and exploit regional weaknesses. Director of the International Law Enforcement Academy in San Salvador, Dimas Jaén, added that no single country can tackle the issue alone.
Across the Caribbean, small arms trafficking, proliferation of small arms continues to be a major issue for our international partners. It's one that is certainly not going away, I think, and it's an issue that it can't be addressed locally. It's an issue that needs to be addressed and can only be addressed really through building the types of coalitions that the ILEA program builds amongst our international partners.
The workshop also examines emerging trafficking trends, investigative tools, and shared intelligence systems as authorities work to strengthen a coordinated regional response.
Digital services like streaming platforms, apps, and cloud storage could soon be taxed in Grenada. Government has introduced legislation to expand the VAT system to include online subscriptions as part of efforts to modernize tax collection and strengthen fiscal sustainability. The Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026 was tabled in Parliament by Leader of Government Business, Philip Telesford.
The Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill changes the legislation to include digital services within Grenada's tax framework. The bill introduces legal definitions for digital services and electronic marketplaces, establishes how and when services are used in Grenada, and sets out compliance rules for overseas providers. It also requires non-resident suppliers to register for VAT under a simplified system, while placing responsibility on certain online platforms to account for tax where they facilitate and control transactions. A reverse charge mechanism is also introduced, requiring registered businesses in Grenada to account for VAT when purchasing digital services from abroad. Leader of Government Business, Philip Telesford, who introduced the bill, said it is aimed at strengthening fiscal sustainability and modernizing the tax system.
The bill introduces a comprehensive regime to ensure that the digital services supplied to consumers in Grenada, including those supplied by non-residents and through electronic marketplaces, are subject to VAT.
Opposition member Kate Lewis-Peters and opposition leader Emlyn Pear, while not opposing the legislation, raised concerns about the potential impact on consumers and local content creators.
I'm thinking about the small businesses, the young content creators. Now, it means that they would be charging additional for these services.
We understand that this is monies that the government wants to collect to add to the government coffers. I would suggest maybe we need to look more at how do we manage what we have.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell supported the bill, warning that failure to properly capture VAT on digital services would pose a risk to fiscal stability.
This is not merely about the question of whether or not a 15% VAT on digital services should or should not apply, because at the end, the individual end user who consumes something may or may not have to pay that rate. It is about the fact that the digital economy is an economy. And like all economies, it must be subject to state regulation, including taxation.
The bill has now been approved in the lower house. Eugenia Peters, GBN News.
The government of Antigua and Barbuda says major investments continue to flow into the country, despite earlier concerns from the International Monetary Fund about declining revenues. Prime Minister Gaston Brown reports more than $2 billion in projects now in the pipeline, including new luxury resorts and hotel developments expected to roll out over the next few years.
We are seeing Antigua and Barbuda continue to hold steady. Our revenues continue to increase and investments are still flowing. We have over $2 billion in investments in the pipe, which will take place in the ensuing months and years. So for example, we have about $200 million to invest in the expansion of UE5 Islands. That will start by third quarter of this year. There's a Marriott hotel being built to be completed by about April of next year. The Merby luxury hotel property will start construction shortly as well.
In sports, FIFA has significantly increased financial payouts for this year's World Cup to ease concerns over rising participation costs. Total distributions will now reach $871 million, up from the previously announced $727 million. The decision follows complaints from member associations about high expenses, including travel, taxes, and operations for the tournament, which will be hosted in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Under the revised structure, each of the 48 qualified teams will receive $2.5 million in preparation funding, up from $1.5 million. While qualification payments increase from $9 million to $10 million. Additional support will also be provided for team delegation costs and ticket allocations. In cricket news, Guyana is set to host 5 matches involving 2023 champions Guyana Amazon Warriors in the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League between September 4 and September 11. CPL on Tuesday unveiled the fixtures for the 2026 tournament, set to feature 39 matches from August 7 to September 20.
The Warriors will open their home leg at the National Stadium Providence with a clash against Jamaica Kingsmen on September 4th from 19 hours, followed by a showdown with St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots on September 6th from 10 hours. On September 8th, Warriors will come up against Antigua and Barbuda Falcons from 19 hours, while on September 9th, they face St. Lucia Kings from 19 hours. The final game in Guyana is a mega clash between Warriors and reigning champions Trinbago Knight Riders on September 11th from 19 hours. For the first time, the competition will feature 7 teams, with Jamaica Kingsmen joining the fray this season alongside Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, Barbados Royals, Guyana Amazon Warriors, St. Lucia Kings, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, and Trinbago Knight Riders. The 2026 edition will also mark several historic milestones for the tournament. St. Vincent and the Grenadines will host CPL matches for the first time, with the opening fixtures scheduled for the scenic Arnesvale Stadium, bringing the excitement of CPL cricket to a new audience. At the other end of the tournament, Barbados will host the CPL finals for the first time, setting the stage for a landmark conclusion to the competition. Pete Russell, the Chief Executive Officer of the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, said, and I quote, "With an expanded tournament in 2026, we are delighted to be bringing CPL cricket to St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the first time. We are equally excited about hosting Finals Week in Barbados, where we have ambitious plans to deliver the biggest and most memorable finale in the tournament's 14-year history. Each year, our goal is to raise the bar, and I am more confident than ever that CPL 2026 will be our best season yet." End quote.
Trinidad and Tobago's national sprinter, Shaniqua Bascom, says the training in Jamaica has benefited her development tremendously on and off the track, and she's encouraging other local athletes to do the same. Bascom, who recently triumphed in the girls' 200-meter dash at Velocity Fest 19, has been based in Jamaica for over a year with track and field club Optimum, as she eyes qualification for the 2028 Olympic Games.
22-year-old Trinidad and Tobago sprinter Shaniqua Bascom is one of this country's top-performing athletes in the discipline. In 2025, the Marval native struck gold in the Pan American Junior Games women's 100-meter final. Following that, she recently made a huge impression in Jamaica, winning the 200-meter final at Velocity Fest 19, while clocking a new personal best in that event and the 100-meter. In her ultimate journey of qualification for the 2028 Olympic Games, Bascom has made the transition to Jamaica for over a year now, where she trains with track and field club Optimum, a decision that she doesn't regret.
Training in Jamaica, it make a big difference. It have me more calm, more how to say, more mature, because I'm living by myself out there, and it's scary. But it's just something different that I never experienced before. And the training environment it's good, very good. I can't complain about it.
When asked about the recent trend of more local track and field athletes applying their trade in Jamaica, Bascom stated that it's something she would recommend, but added that it's an expensive investment.
You're going to experience something different. You're going to the land of where sprinting is, where all the fast athletes are, because if you realize Jamaica and the US, they are the places where the top athletes are. So I would definitely recommend somebody going to Jamaica to train.
The sprinter went on to state her plans going forward.
My plan, my goal, and my plan right now is to break the national record in the 200, and everything else is my coach to do it.
Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
And that's the news on PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.